Hi, everyone. It's Joe Veneri, the host of Fit Insider, the show where I talk with the entrepreneurs, executives, and investors who are redefining the business of fitness and wellness. Today, I'm joined by Josh Augustin. Josh is the CTO of Tempo, a smart home gym that uses computer vision to track your form in real time. In this episode, we discuss the company's origin story as a product designed to be used in the gym, how they pivoted to the at-home market, the recent $60 million funding round that valued the company at $250 million, and the future of the connected fitness category. Let's get into it. Hi, Josh. Welcome to Fit Insider. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Excited to chat today and glad we had a chance to catch up here. And I think kicking things off, just in your words, can you tell folks what you're working on at Tempo?
So Tempo is an all-in-one home gym that's built around some cutting-edge technology, a 3D camera and advanced computer vision and machine learning to deliver a training experience and not just a fitness experience that can actually tell you when you're making a mistake with your form, and it can track your reps and track your progress in a much more comprehensive way to deliver a really next level fitness experience in the home.
Yeah, it's obviously right now this kind of product, both with COVID and I think just kind of the timing as we look at things shifting away from the gym and into the home. There's a number of companies targeting this space, but Tempo has a unique story as it relates to getting to this point. So you give folks the background maybe on how the company got started and the lead up to what is now Tempo.
Yeah, so my co-founder and I actually met in college at Columbia University about 6 years ago. And Moawia has been weight training for a long time. And he actually became my personal trainer. He basically started dragging me to the gym at Columbia, which is this kind of crowded and noisy gym. But I really started to really enjoy it because he was just such a great coach and such a great mentor to me, and really brought me from being a complete novice to feeling like I knew what I was doing. And concurrently, he was working on this wearable device that he was going to try and work on for physical therapy. And meanwhile, I was working in the robotic space with 3D cameras and machine learning. And we kind of tried to put our ideas together, and we realized that, hey, by combining these different approaches, we could actually deliver this training experience that would be just a completely unique and more advanced form of fitness that could be done at a distance. And so with that idea, we actually decided we wanted to go into gyms because we wanted to put a product in front of as many people as possible to allow them to buy into a training platform inside their gyms. And so this company, we started as SmartSpot. We dropped out of college and we went to an incubator, Y-Combinator, and then began work on this company. We went around to a variety of gyms throughout the United States and abroad. And what eventually ended up happening was that our training platform was really popular, and it was actually in conflict with the training that was being offered by the gym, personal training and other kinds of products that the gyms were offering. And so we kind of hit this roadblock where the better we did at our job of training people, the more competition we presented to the gyms. And so eventually we kind of realized that this was kind of a dead end. And at that point, we decided to make a big change in the company and go into the home space. And so that was a company that started out being called Pivot. And after a while, we renamed to Tempo, which we are today. So that's been the story up to now. We raised our Series A last year, and just a couple months ago closed our Series B round for $60 million with Norwest and General Catalyst, as well as our previous investors.
Yeah, you certainly have the momentum now, and I think that raising that Series A, raising follow-on funding, but there had to have been some times, maybe in the course of from SmartSpot to Pivot to presenting the challenges for the gyms, as you mentioned. Was there ever a time in there that you felt like, oh, maybe this isn't the idea we should be pursuing or continue to pursue?
Yeah, I mean, I got to say that, it really left us a little bit disappointed when we found out that, the gym business or different parts of the gym business aren't always in line with what the gym members would most benefit from, right? There's all these needs to, be really efficient with your floor space and be really efficient with your resources in ways that I think, provide less of a great experience to customers. And so it's been really exciting to be able to offer a product where the better a job we do at delivering an amazing training experience, the better experience our customers get directly.
I think it's such a great point that what we're starting to see revealed is not only the shift to the homes in terms of convenience, but that idea that you mentioned, that gyms aren't necessarily, the incentives aren't aligned, right? So that in so many cases you're paying into this breakage model where gyms sign up way more people than they can actually have in at any one point in time, and they're kind of hoping secretly maybe that folks don't show up. So when you're talking about optimizing floor space and giving people better results, the idea that putting this technology in the gym maybe doesn't benefit them creates somewhat of a problem and kind of opens the door for connected fitness and at-home fitness that we're seeing today.
Yeah, and our inspiration in going to the home space was really the kinds of boutique group fitness class experiences that have started to dominate and really grow exponentially in the market. And I'm really encouraged by that trend because I really think it proves that people are starting to take more seriously how much of an impact that a great trainer and a great program can do for your fitness experience. So, we were for so long kind of stuck in this rut of going for a cheaper and cheaper gym membership and expecting the gym being close to our house to suddenly change our habits and change our mindset. And I think it's really become clear to a lot of people that if you have this amazing coach and this great set of equipment, you can actually get a lot more out of an hour at a fitness experience than you may have before. And so that's the kind of experience that we're trying to turn into the home by delivering all the same components, that amazing set of equipment, which comes included with Tempo Studio, as well as the training that is, facilitated by our technology.
Sure. Let's continue to dig into that a little bit. So obviously we're talking about Tempo. We're talking about that in now what's quickly becoming maybe a crowded space, the connected fitness category within the broader digital remote fitness. So how do you think about where Tempo fits into that landscape and how you stand out?
So Tempo starts with the concept that a video is not the same thing as training. So we start from the idea that we need some kind of two-way experience, some experience where you're getting some information from the trainer, but also the trainer is getting some information about you. And that's where our camera and our 3D technology comes into play, because our camera system is actually able to track your motion as you work out in one of our classes. And we're going to give you guidance when you make a mistake with your technique. So if you're bending your back too much in your squat because your core is collapsing, we're going to give you some ideas on how you might be able to help that. You might be able to go for a wider stance or tighten your core a little bit, or maybe even just go down on weight. And so by being able to have that amount of accountability and actual guidance, we can deliver the really a core part of a training experience, which is that interaction between you and a trainer.
How, I guess, for me, I'm kind of a technology novice. Obviously, I see all these different components. I've tried a lot of them, spoke to a lot of the founders and executives on the podcast previously. But how easy or hard is it to replicate this technology, whether it's the screen or the camera, the motion tracking, any piece of that?
Well, it's interesting. This is really a problem that it's very easy to get something that looks like it's working and very hard to get something that actually works. And so what we found as we've approached this for the last 6 years is that it was the wealth of information that we got from being in gyms that allowed us to deliver the home product to the level of expertise that it is. And that's because people are different. Everybody has a different body and moves in a different way. And being able to capture that wide range of diversity and still provide a good training experience that's really attentive to the differences between different people's bodies is a really complicated challenge. And so by building on all this data that we were able to collect in our gym product, we were able to really refine all of our core algorithms to be more responsive to many different kinds of people and environments. And that's really been a core to the mission of the company. And so I think honestly that this is a really, really tough challenge. We're not done. We are continuing to innovate every day adding new support for new exercises and modalities of fitness. And I expect to be doing so for a long time.
So would you say, is it the kind of data and AI piece of it that is the true innovation versus, when you look at the things that are becoming standard in the offerings, there's the display screen and maybe the two-way ability to give and receive instruction, also the kind of motion tracking, and we can get into the content and community pieces of that, but the technology piece, the core innovation is just having this kind of bank of data that you're able to use.
Yeah, and I think that it's that bank of data, and it's how we use that data to deliver a class experience. And so ultimately, it's about how well can we use all of this vision and all of this learning that we have to deliver an even more compelling and personalized class experience.
Sure. Yeah. Speaking of those classes and kind of that personalized experience, what role does the content play and the instruction play in that overall experience?
Yeah, content is absolutely essential to what we're doing. And really, we think about all the fancy tech and the fitness as kind of going hand in hand. So I, as a CTO, am working every day with the fitness team, devising new things that we can do and new ways that we can connect this really great technology with these classes. So our offering is a wide variety of different classes. We have everything from HIIT classes to more kind of traditional strength training. It's all built around the included weight set that I mentioned earlier, which is 2 dumbbells, a barbell, and a bunch of weight plates that can be used on either. And there's plenty of body weight classes too. We have mobility classes, which are great, kind of like yoga. We have some recovery classes. So there's a wide variety of different class content. And all of it is constructed around this interplay between the camera system and the trainer. So if a trainer is giving you guidance on how many reps you should be shooting for, the camera is counting your reps and making sure you get there. And if you don't get there, we're going to maybe go down and recommend a lower weight for the next set. So it's all about how we build this comprehensive experience where everything fits together into a really fun and also very motivating and challenging class.
Sure. And is everything structured in a way where it's, personal training? You said it's mimicking kind of the boutique experience. So am I getting a class with other people and also the personalized attention, or am I getting a personal training session?
Yeah, our model is an interesting kind of a hybrid. So Moawia and I, who both really like group classes, but also have done a lot of traditional strength training, kind of tried to hybridize those. And so our class experience is really a very close connection with you and the trainer. You're seeing the trainer on the screen, but at the same time, you've got this leaderboard of your peers who you're competing against. So it's both a kind of one-on-one experience and also this community of members of Tempo who you're competing against rep for rep as the class goes on.
Yeah, sure. And that's something, way back, almost 10 years ago now, we owned a gym and actually got started in the personal training business and group exercise. And one of the things that even in person people wanted to focus on, they wanted to have the attention of a personal trainer, but they didn't necessarily want to do a one-on-one session or pay for a one-on-one session. So you had this kind of like group experience where you're speaking about, but also, I could walk over and give individualized instruction as it was needed.
Yeah, so in our live class setting, the trainer is getting live information about all the people in the class. And whenever you're making a mistake, the trainer is going to know that on their screen. And so that allows this really cool feedback loop where the trainer can actually single you out and say, hey, you should really look at this and you should really fix this. And that's kind of that one-on-one experience, but you also have that really great motivating atmosphere of having all these people pushing it and pushing you to get one last rep in that last 2 seconds. And I really feel that that's the kind of combination of factors that makes our classes so fun and so compelling.
Yeah, it's exciting. And with that, obviously the other piece, when you talk about having people, kind of this leaderboard and the competition aspect of it, really what we're talking about is community. And building community is so important when folks talk about having, going to the gym or going to boutique classes. They want to have this sense of belonging. How do you think about replicating that in the home experience?
Yeah, that's also, what we started from. As I brought up our story of the founding earlier, it was really this connection that Moya and I established really early on that changed my fitness life. And I think that's really the proof that I need that community is central to fitness, because nothing is going to motivate you like having other people around who are going to push you, but also like support you when you maybe are having challenges or struggles. And so we really are very invested in finding new ways to build community. And what's interesting with a product like this, that you have this convenience factor, being able to walk up and do a class whenever you want, that kind of is in contradiction to the community aspect of being in a room with a whole lot of other people. And so what we're really starting to play with is different ways to create subsets. So you're not working out with everybody in the entire Tempo community, but actually a subset of people, and you're kind of sharing a set of goals over a period of time. And we think that, some kind of hybrid approach, again, where we're bringing some of the convenience from just being able to start a class whenever you want, but also some of that sense of common time and common purpose that really builds a really tight-knit community. And by putting those together, we think we could do something that's really pretty cool.
Yeah, we've kind of talked about the technology piece, the community piece, and now thinking about obviously the other component being the talent piece. When you talk about instructors, who is working with the users throughout these times, providing the feedback and instruction, how is Tempo approaching, the types of instructors that you're bringing on board, working with them, and kind of keeping them incentivized and excited about the product?
Yeah, Moya and I have been invested heavily in this process of finding trainers. And in fact, every one of the trainers on our platform today was handpicked by Moya and I. And by going through this process, what I've really come to realize is that there's no one perfect trainer for everybody. I think that different people respond to different qualities in a trainer, whether it's that, hard-edged drill sergeant who's going to, really push you, or whether it's somebody who's going to be really supportive and positive. People have different kind of preferences there. And so what we've really tried to look for at Tempo is try and get a wide variety of different styles and different trainers with different levels of experience. We got some trainers that are really into kickboxing and others that are really into dance. And I think it's that combination of all these different backgrounds that provides a much richer overall experience and gives our customers much more variety to choose from in terms of the style class they may be looking for. But I mean, all the trainers have the same core attributes, which is a really deep knowledge of fitness that's going to enable them to provide really specific and important and scientifically backed guidance, and also a really great motivational attitude that's going to really inspire people. And so, as I said, we're constantly on the lookout for new trainers who fit that bill. And we have a very high bar, but we're going to keep trying to grow that list of trainers who are involved.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so important making sure that, those folks are there. And, not only, as you mentioned, the kind of authority on the subject, but also keeping people engaged and motivated both play a very important role. I wanted to change gears a little bit. Obviously, can't have this conversation at this particular time without talking about the COVID-19 outbreak, that impact on gyms and fitness more broadly. How has that, whether it's, I think, and to generalize, we can say that it's impacted the business, but are there specific ways in which you've seen it impact the business and usage thus far?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, COVID was completely unanticipated and has had an enormous impact on the business. And how I describe it is that we were planning to be growing steadily and slowly over the course of a few years and really trying to consolidate our product and make sure that it was as great as it could be. And then suddenly everything changed overnight and we ran into tons of supply shortages with how many people were looking for a great at-home fitness option. And so we suddenly became this essential product that, and basically this accelerated all of our plans and all of our timelines to where I think we are today where we thought we'd be 3 years from now. And so that's been, huge in changing everything about how we we operate. The biggest thing has just been the need for us to produce enough units and get enough units to the United States to start delivering to people. And so that's been very challenging. But I think, we're really happy that we get this opportunity to, help so many people in this time when I think a lot of people really could use it. I know for me personally, the ability to go and do something, every day to kind of, get my heart rate up has been a really great source of comfort. So I'm really happy that we were able to help so many people right now.
Yeah, in a hurry. I think a lot of fitness products, workouts, whether anything from a physical product to an app, became as an essential business to help people continue to maintain their health, not only physical health, but mental health, both of those things being so key and absolutely accelerating the business. How is it that you've been able to keep up with those, whether it's hiring, the technology, the manufacturing pieces? What has been the biggest kind of hurdle, and how have you been able to keep up with that?
Yeah, I think that it's been a challenge, and it's definitely been, trying to get all the people, all the great talented people to help develop and iterate on what we have today and make it even better in the future. And, like I said, we were planning to kind of do this kind of change in progress over the course of a few years, and now we're having to do it in a few months. And so that's been a, real challenge to find the right people and also get people who can help us in all these different dimensions, whether it's the manufacturing, whether it's the fitness, whether it's the programming or the product design. All those different departments we're really expanding rapidly to try and meet the moment.
Yeah. How does that change, or does it change, I guess is the way to phrase it, how you think about the category overall of connected fitness? Mm-hmm. Because you talk about, for you, it's accelerated, call it the timeline, 3 years, maybe more than that. So accelerating, assuming that goes across the entire category, does that make it, all the more competitive? Does that mean you have to move faster and will face more challenges as you continue to do this? Just how do you think about the overall category evolving, not just Tempo?
Yeah, when we jumped into this project and this home product, we really did so under the assumption that there was going to be this increase in at-home fitness over the course of the next 10 years. We really saw that as being this big category because of how busy people are. And also the fact that, people had started demanding this higher level of quality out of their fitness experience. So going back to what we said about the boutiques that so many people love, we really thought that people wouldn't put up with just a video, just a YouTube video. I think, we're past the days of VHS. I think people have realized how much more they want out of their fitness experience. And so we really saw this as this huge opportunity to offer a more compelling and beneficial experience in the home. And so really, I see COVID as just having accelerated that pretty substantially. I think that, once, hopefully when we are out of this, hopefully very soon, I think that obviously the market's going to shift quite a bit again. And I don't know exactly how things are going to work out. But I do think that trend has been accelerated dramatically. And I think a lot of people are going to be doing more at-home fitness in the next few years than they would have otherwise.
Sure. And as, other competitors, call them, rush to the space as well, I can think of maybe 4 to 5 that have launched in the last 6 months, call it 6 to 8 months, maybe not launched the start of the company, but certainly tried to come to market much faster. Do you think there's a risk of, when we talk about 1,500 to, a Peloton treadmill being $4,000+, there's a risk of saturating that kind of at-home connected fitness piece versus maybe, call it the apps or just old school dumbbells and at-home equipment separately?
Yeah, I do. I'm definitely concerned that, people who are rushing products out and aren't, able to really put them in where they should be in terms of quality and how great the experience is are going to be maybe souring some people on at-home fitness. But, like I said, I really think that this space is clearly in demand. And I think as long as people are going to want to have a really great workout in the home, there's going to be a lot of interest in new products. I think we're still on the upswing of the market. And I think that's going to include a lot of a lot of big flameouts and a lot of problems along the way. But I think ultimately this is going to be a long-term growth for this market. And I think a lot of products are going to succeed.
Sure. So you don't necessarily think it's the case where this is a winner-take-all type situation. You think that a lot of different people, a lot of different products can succeed in the next coming years?
Yeah, I think that fitness is a very diverse thing, and people want different things out of their fitness experiences. And so I think that you're going to have to do as good a job delivering like a boxing experience as Peloton did the spin bike experience. And we're going after, like I said, this boutique fitness with weight training at its center. And I think there's a lot of different potential, products out there that are going to be compelling. But that said, we are in the long term, we're really trying to deliver an A+ job of this class experience. And we have a variety, but we're trying to deliver an A+ job with these weights. I think in the future we may decide to go and expand, but I think we got to build an incredible core product to start.
Sure, you hit on it there, and I'd like to kind of pull back the curtain a little bit more. You spoke to it earlier. Recently, the company raised the $60 million funding round, $250 million, at least reported valuation. And thinking about the near-term goals and the long-term goals, you obviously want to make that A+ experience, focus on the classes, focus on the weights as it exists now. But what do some of those near-term and longer-term benchmarks look like at Tempo?
What we're really building towards right now is how can we take a single class, a single day's experience that we think is already at a great point where a lot of people enjoy it, and how do we turn that into a month? How do we turn that into a year? What are the improvements and ways that we need to personalize the experience even more so that not just today, not just tomorrow, but 6 months from now, you've gotten a lot further than you would have otherwise. And that requires being really attentive to people's lives that change, and being attentive to all sorts of things like, injuries, or just, people having a bad week, not getting as much done with their workouts as they'd like. And so for us to try and find the way to be that partner that's going to take you up a notch, but is still going to be responsive to what's going on in your life. I think that's really what we're trying to work on next.
And thinking about that, you look at recently as COVID has kind of taken over and then persisted, you had companies that had developed the connected fitness piece, but then expanded into just a pure digital offering. Is that something that you're thinking about? Maybe branching out from just the pure device connected at home to a digital subscription where you're able to get content maybe without the equipment?
Not right now, but we are constantly thinking about it. It's always in our mirror, but we're not always going to be. Ultimately, I think, as I said before, I think that in order to deliver that experience that's even that's better than a video, we've really got to have some kind of hardware component, and not just our 3D camera and our computer hardware, but also the equipment, the weight set that we provide with the Tempo and the storage that the Tempo provides for it is a really critical part to delivering this amazing class. And so I think that, it's going to be very tough for us to find a way to deliver that as well through digital, but I'm not saying never. It's just something that I think we're not focusing on yet.
Yeah, I think potentially one of the things that's important to mention, when was it that Tempo started shipping the current version of the product?
We began a closed beta last December, but we began shipping our production units in June of this year. So only a few months now.
Right. And so thinking about getting all the pieces right as you talk about them, making sure it's an A+ experience, there's still, even though the company's been around for quite a while, getting into this direct to consumer, the content subscription, the talent, the at home aspect, it's still early innings. And I think early innings for the category more broadly. So plenty to do as it relates to that.
Absolutely.
Sure. And then one thing, you kind of talked about it there, with maybe getting into digital, maybe getting into other even pieces of equipment. Wanted to touch on what different modalities are you targeting now in terms of the class offerings, the instructors, and what people maybe, if you can give any indication of what folks are enjoying or using more versus something else?
Yeah, so as I said, our content is a pretty wide range. We have a lot of just flexibility and mobility classes. We also have HIIT classes that are built around really intense, quick intervals with the weights. And then we have strength training that's a lot slower and more about methodical form and technique and getting, pushing heavy weights around. So there's a wide variety there. I'd say of those offerings, probably right now, HIIT is probably the most common. And I think that, we try and help people get a mix, because I think ultimately, you really do want to have a wide variety of classes or fitness that you're doing. If you're just doing kind of one modality, I think you're not really going to achieve everything you're hoping to. So for that reason, we are kind of trying to make sure that people get a good mix. So even for people that are maybe on a strength program, we're going to mix in some more HIIT and cardio classes so that they can get their cardiovascular stuff in order as well. So ultimately, I think it's about supplying a wide range of classes and also helping guide people through which classes they should do when.
Sure. I think that part, putting it all together, making sure folks are getting, the comprehensive workout, not just the one-off workout is super important. And as we kind of look to wrap up here, we talked about this being a unique time. Obviously, COVID, folks are stuck at home and working out and purchasing equipment at record pace. How do you think about, as gyms hopefully soon we get back to normal and things start to reopen, the transition to keeping people in that at-home habit and continuing to utilize the Tempo versus kind of rushing back to the gym? Have you talked about that at the company, and just how do you think about that personally?
Well, when we first were designing the product, we were doing so in a pre-COVID era, and we were thinking about how this product would fit into the lives of somebody who already does go to a gym, already does go to perhaps fitness classes. And so there's two different dimensions that I would say. The first is that by offering a higher degree of guidance and personalization than you'll get out of a group fitness class, we can actually do better than perhaps like a really big impersonal group fitness class would, to give you a really customized experience. But secondly, and I really stand by this, I don't think that our Tempo needs to be 100% of your fitness diet. I think that we're amazingly complementary to so many different kinds of fitness activities. So if you're doing your weight training at your gym and then you're going to come back home and do a cardio workout, that's a great way to get this, all be firing on all cylinders. If you're doing a sport, I'm a rock climber. And so for me, it's about, can I get my abs and my core strength and my back strength in place to be really great on the climbing wall. And so, I think that Tempo has the potential to increase the fitness, excellence of anybody. And there's many different ways to work it into a routine. The key point is having a routine that's you are really committed to and you feel is really working for you.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point. Really rounding out the entire fitness routine and not just being the sole option, as so many people are kind of encountering now. With that, assuming folks are into what we've talked about here today and they want to check out Tempo, maybe get one, what's the best way for them to maybe get in touch and learn more?
Yeah, they can visit tempo.fit, tempo.fit. to see our product and learn more about it. We're also on all of your social media platforms. We're at Tempo on Instagram, and we're on Twitter and YouTube as well.
Awesome. I definitely encourage folks to check it out and get a look firsthand at what you're up to. Josh, I appreciate you making time today.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks everyone for listening to today's episode. For more from Fit Insider, visit insider.fit.co and subscribe to our weekly newsletter for insights and analysis on the business of fitness and wellness. Then, go ahead and subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. See you next time.